Michigan 112, McNeese 71, the sixth 40-plus point victory for the Wolverines this season. Shout out to Trey McKenney for a late bucket, ensuring that that threshold was met. Before we get into the full recap of the number one team in the country's latest marvelous masterpiece. A reminder, we are brought to you by Tinker Coffee. Every preview and recap this season brought to you by Tinker Coffee. I am sipping on the Puebla right now. It's a great blend, one of three blends I have behind me. TinkerCoffee.com, promo code SLEEPERS. You can get 15% off your first order, and it would be a great sign of support to anyone who supports this show. For us, Dion, they shipped all the way out to Cali. You got a gift package from Tinker.
Yeah, I got a gift package. I've been sipping on Tinker coffee all morning. We are on our fourth hour of recording already. It feels like we just started. But Tinker coffee has been keeping me up. It's about 9:45 now. We started around 6 my time. So I mean Tinker coffee keeps me awake. I've never been a coffee drinker prior to Tinker, but I love it. And honestly, too, for anybody in California, the shipping times are so quick too. Like so quick.
Yep, you can set up a recurring order and get up to 25% off. Promo code SLEEPERS. Make sure you do that. Okay, Dion, 112 points from Michigan. This is what they're one, two, three, four, five, six. Sixth time in 7 games, going over 100. Seventh time this season, going over 100. They are up to fifth offensively in the country, first defensively in the country per KenPom, holding strong to the number one 2-point offense and number one 2-point defense. Bart Torvik says that Michigan is the second best offense in the sport and the first best defense in the sport. This very much maps with what my eyes are seeing. How many times can we say the same things? I feel like the team they were in Las Vegas, whatever they found at the Players era, has come home and showed up every game since. The blip on the radar, like what if? Oh, that was just an aberration. Was the 2 bad games?
Yeah.
The team they've been in the other 10 games this season is just this unstoppable slaughterhouse of a basketball team. What is your perception? This is your first Michigan recap in a while. What are you seeing?
So a few things. The first one, I want to hold myself accountable. I'm a gambler. I wake up every day. I check the spreads. Every single Michigan game, I go, that's a really high number, and then they are up 40 at halftime, and they're covering the spread by 10 points. Um, what I what I'm honestly seeing from this team is uh, Dusty. I think Dusty's taken a group of guys and made them better, right? Like Elliot Cadeau's so much better than he was on UNC. He also looks like a guy way more bought in. I don't want to make this about Hubert Davis, but it is absolutely clear to me that there's something about Dusty May that makes Elliot Cadeau want to buy into a role that Hubert couldn't get him to do, right? And that might be partially Elliot. It might be partially Hubert, who knows? But I think no matter who it is, it should be a ton of credit to Dusty May because Elliott's not playing, he's playing 56.5% of minutes. I think if you told me Elliott was only going to play minutes between 20 and 25 a game for Michigan, I'd be like, oh, Elliott wouldn't want to do that. Like, Elliott likes having the ball in his hands. He likes playing. He likes being the focal point. It doesn't feel that way. Like, he's willing to defer. He's willing to play a role. He's willing to play winning basketball. I don't think the antics are on the level that the antics were at North Carolina either. And, on top of everything, he's shooting 45% from three. And then there's a Yaxel. And I've already owned up to being wrong about this one. I said Yaxel should leave because if Danny went like 28, how much higher could Yaxel go? A lot higher, is the answer. Like, I think Yaxel's been phenomenal. Dusty, again, I didn't think Yaxel was gonna be like an amazing shooter. At his previous stops, he shot 36, about mid 30s from three. I thought that's a good spot for Yaxel. He's shooting 40% from three at the moment. Merez, same thing. I mean, I think everybody kind of like we all believed in Merez, right? But we all kind of looked at Merez crazy, like you want to be the focal point of the offense, so on and so forth. He's made Merez good. At Daymar, I've texted you this multiple times. Ade Mara will have a 10-minute stretch, and I'll send you, Carr, and like the whole sleepers group of texts that I think Ade Mara is the best player in the country. And obviously he has stretches where that's not the case. He was unplayable on UCLA, and he's been like dominant for long stretches of games for Michigan. That's Dusty, man. Like Dusty is a phenomenal coach. This is a great team too. Like I don't want to take anything away from the individual talent, but everybody is playing above their ability to me. Everybody is playing above their ability, and then besides the Axel, everybody's role is smaller than what their talent is. You combine those two things, that's the makeup of a championship team. Um, and Dusty's just pushing all the right buttons. Also, one last thing for the haters out there, this is why the players there are so important, but that's a topic for a different day.
Yeah, some could point out that the Players Era Festival is where the best team in the sport found it, and the highest level of basketball was discovered this year. But I digress. I don't feel like going back down that path. Yeah, I'm glad. Sometimes it's good to just get new opinions, right? Cart and I normally do every single Michigan recap. And it's just like we say the same things. And I try my best to remind myself how much of this is a Dusty May credit thing. I really think he is on a trajectory to be the best coach in the sport. I mean, it sounds crazy, but I don't know how you look at this. How could there be any other coach of the year this season? I don't think there is one. I saw somebody tweeted last night that Dusty May has the fourth most coaching wins in the sport in his last 4 seasons. He's tied with Matt Painter with 98 wins in the last 4 years. The only coaches ahead of him are Kelvin Sampson, Dan Hurley, and John Shire. Like that's the level you're getting from Dusty May immediately in year 2 at Michigan. And it's crazy. It's crazy because I made this point in a previous recap, but you know, this level they're playing to right now, 12 and 0. I have a lot of big picture stuff I want to bring up at some point in this video. The level they're playing to has basically only been achieved by the best teams in the last 25 years of college basketball. And those teams are mostly built with pros. I mean, the literally the teams in the realm we're talking about are like the Harrison Twin, Devin Booker, Willie Cauley Stein, Carl Anthony Towns Kentucky team. We're talking about Steph Castle, Donovan Clingan, UConn. We're talking about trying to think who it was called, the Chet Holmgren Gonzaga team, right? Like Corey Kispert. Obviously, there are good players, and I think there are pros on this year's Michigan team. Maybe 5 years down the line, we'll look at them this way. But the guys that lead this Michigan team in usage rate are Elliot Cadeau and Adai Mara. And they are playing to the level of the best teams in college basketball history. And when those guys were taken, the discussion was, what is Dusty doing? Why does he want Elliot Cadeau? Why does he want Adai Mara? Why is he trying to force that into the team that already has Merez? Why? What? Why didn't they just keep Trey Donaldson? Why does like? And the reality is, Dusty had a vision. He executed the vision flawlessly. But the other reality is, every guy on this entire team is sacrificing a ton. Mara's playing well more than he did at UCLA because Mick Cronin's an idiot. But Mara's playing like half the game. Cadeau's playing less minutes than he did at Carolina. Yaxel's playing less minutes than he would anywhere else in the country. Namari Burnett came back for a 5th year for 16 minutes a game. Ronnie Gale's not starting. He's been a starter his whole career. Trey McKenney's a 5-star that could start on any other team in the country. LJ Kaysen could have transferred when they brought all these guards in. Every single guy on this team sacrificed and is now reaping the rewards of the sacrifice. And there's a lot of personalities. Like my fear with this team is still, are they going to stay this unselfish all year long? But through 2 months, this is the most unselfish basketball team I've ever seen. Every single guy is sacrificing. And, people try to discredit it with schedule conversations. Mind you, McNeese is the 69th best team in the sport. McNeese is better than a couple teams Michigan will play in the Big Ten. They just made them look like the worst team in the sport, the same way they did Gonzaga and San Diego State and Auburn and whatever. Like, yeah, they got to play the most elite teams, but guess what? Gonzaga is an elite team. And we did the same thing to Gonzaga that we do to McNeese and San Diego State and everybody else. So at this point, it's just a buzzsaw, but it's a buzzsaw that is Dusty's buzzsaw. Dusty built this. He had a vision, a plan. He's executed flawlessly. He's convinced every single guy to sacrifice and buy in and remain unselfish. And it truly is a ridiculously happy basketball team. They play with a joy that is just infectious and fun to watch.
Yeah, you mentioned he's fourth in wins over the last 4 years. That feels very sustainable. It feels with the funding Michigan has. Um, and by the way, like fans probably don't want to hear this. With everything going on with the football program, don't you think the basketball team's probably going to get a little bit more money next year?
Yeah.
Because they're probably going to take some from the football program and give it to basketball because of what's happening, right? And Kyle Whittingham also probably not a guy that's going to spend a ton of money. He's going to want to develop guys like the lower level guys the way he did at Utah, just opening up more funds for a Dusty May who loves to spend money and go get the biggest stars possible. What Dusty does next year might be even better than what he's doing this year. And this looks like the best team in the history of the sport. So it feels very sustainable that he's going to be top five in wins for years to come. It doesn't feel like a fluke. And, honestly, his team last year wasn't like amazing in comparison to his other teams either. It's so impressive. Do you know what their second most used lineup is?
No.
It's their garbage time, we're up 30 points lineup. They are up 40 so much that they play their garbage lineup the second most on the team. That's not a lineup that gets used in real like
Wait, give
rotation.
me give me the names. Who are the players?
So this lineup gets used 9.7%, or excuse me, it's not their complete garbage time lineup because Ade Mara is in it, but this is 9.7% of the time. LJ Kaysen, Trey McKinney, Roddy Gale, Will Cheddar, Ade Mara.
Just our entire bench and Mara.
Yeah, it's the entire bench of Mara. It's missing lotto pick Yaxel. It's missing future NBA guy Merez. It's missing four of your five starters essentially. Like that's your second most used lineup, and it's because you're up 40 so much that you're throwing those four guys out there, then some combination of a day and Merez to finish stuff, right? That's how good this team has been. And honestly, like I know people don't want to hear this. I'd make an argument there's five NBA dudes on this roster.
Who are the five?
I don't think two of them play that much, but I think a day is a lock to get a chance.
Yeah.
Yaxel's a lottery pick. Merez is going to go lotto. Trey McKinney's going to be a draft pick one day. I like Winter Grady's game a lot. And then honestly, again, no one wants to hear this. Elliot Cadeau is probably a lotto pick if he's shooting 40 something percent from, not a lotto pick, I'm sorry, that was too much. But Elliot Cadeau is going to get a shot in the league if he's shooting 40 something percent from three, too, because you can't deny the passing ability. You can't really deny the defense that Elliot plays either. Like, he's going to get a chance. There's a lot more NBA talent on this roster than I think people realize. And part of that's because there's a McDonald's All-American that doesn't play much. And then there's a Winners Grady, who I think is another high level recruit who just doesn't play. Like
Right.
that's how talented this roster is. The NBA guys don't get in that much.
Right. Yeah, I mean it's probably got to be the deepest team in the country. And I made jokes like our ninth guy's a McDonald's All-American, but you could go deeper and yeah, Winters would play pretty much anywhere in the country and he just doesn't. So, which is funny because back to your idea of most used lineups, the fourth most used lineup is even funnier than the second most used lineup. The fourth most used lineup has Malik Cordell, Oscar Goodman, and Winters Grady in it. Because every game we're up 50 with 10 minutes left. So those guys play the final 10 minutes of the game. And they play more than the starters play in games. Dude, it's unprecedented. Do you want to do the big picture stuff I have now and then just do a couple player specific takeaways from this one?
Just to add to your the lineup portion, I just want to say really quickly, this is what a $22 million roster looks like, Kentucky.
Yeah.
This is the deepest team in the country.
Yeah, I
Respectfully.
would I would have a hard time coming to terms with what Mark Pope's roster is every time I watch Michigan if I'm a Kentucky fan. All right, so I pulled so Michigan after this game on KenPom, you can basically look at net rating throughout the years, and this isn't perfect to compare year over year too because net rating is relative to the teams that current season, not historically. So just having the highest net ranking ever does not mean that you are the best team ever. It's just right. It's basically how good are you though. It is how good are you that season relative to the teams you're playing. Um, Michigan's net rating right now is plus 38.86. That is the third highest net rating in the history of the Ken Palm database. The only two teams that exceed that are 1999 Duke, who was plus 43, the only team ever above 40. That was Jay Will and Battier and I believe Boozer. That team was ridiculous. Um, the only other team was Duke from last year with Cooper Flag and Kahn. As crazy as that sounds, Duke from last year, before falling in the Final Four, had a net rating of plus 39.26. Michigan is right on their heels. Michigan at plus 38.86 in December through 12 games is like a half a point behind Duke. Mind you, and this comes from Matthew Winnick on Twitter, Duke last season was 6 points lower in net rating at this exact same point in the year. They got that huge boost as ACC play went on. So, like, I'm not saying Michigan's going to do the same thing, but I am saying Michigan gets games against Rutgers, Penn State, Minnesota still on the schedule, right? And people want to say the play somebody game. The reality is McNeese is better than certain teams you're going to play in the Big Ten. So, like, there's a world here that, like, Michigan having this net rating right now is completely unprecedented. Nobody's ever been this good this early in the season, ever. It's not even close. And if they even improve the net rating incrementally at all by the end of the season, they're going to go down as like the second best team in the history of the sport. And I look, the best teams in the history of the sport can lose. For my money, the best team I've ever seen is 2015 Kentucky. They lost in the Final Four. So this is not saying a title is imminent, but I do want, I think it's time. I think it is time to reframe this idea of what this team is, right? We know they're really good this season. Um, you should start viewing this team the way you view 2015 Kentucky. Michigan's net rating is 2 points higher right now than Kentucky finished that season. Like you should start viewing this team the way you viewed Chet Holmgren, Drew Timme, Corey Kispert. Like that team, I viewed them as like I've never seen a team this talented in 6 years. This team's better analytically than the UConn team was that won their second title. Like it doesn't like no one's viewing it that way. We know how dominant they are, but it's always like, well, they haven't played anybody. Just wait till Big Ten. I don't really give a fuck anymore. Like I have seen enough. This is the moment. Like I'm not gonna reserve anything anymore. This team's a top five team I've ever seen, and I think any of us have ever seen. And if they stop playing like it, we will adjust the way we talk about them. But good Lord, man, just some numbers on what this group is doing right now outside of the Ken Palm stuff. Um, Only three teams this century have won at least 6 games by 40 points or more in a single season. Michigan just did that by December 29th. That Gonzaga team that was awesome had 7 in a full season. Duke in 2000 had 8 in a full season. Do you think Michigan's going to win any more games by 40?
Yeah.
They got 20 more of these. Like they are going to shatter the record for most games that are just non-competitive blowouts. And I know that doesn't matter, but it's a good definition that this team's ceiling is like as high as we have ever seen it. Specifically in this game, dude, they were up 51 points with 7 minutes left to play, and they checked in the scout team basically. They're up 96-45 with 7 minutes left in this game. At the time of that check-in, at the timeout, Michigan was scoring 1.5 points per possession to zero point 0.6 points per possession defensively. It's just a buzzsaw. They get open dunks and layups and open threes every single possession. McNeese is the number one turnover forcing team in the sport, and Michigan turned it over just 15% of their possessions until garbage time. Like turnovers were not even a problem against the best turnover forcing team in the sport. We just beat the press every time and got layups and dunks because Mara and Cadeau and Yaxel are all like elite passers with elite size for their position. And I've never seen anything like it, man. I really haven't. The level this team plays, it's been constant. Outside of the first half against Maryland, which, mind you, I thought offensively we played that good. The first half against Maryland, Diggy Coit just made everything. We still beat them by 20 and covered the spread by the end of it. So, this has now been a month and a half of this team playing to this level. It's really, truly like watching 2015 Kentucky. And it's got to be jarring to anybody else that, views their team as a contender because I don't care if Arizona's ranked number one until the end of the year. I don't care how many games Purdue wins at Mackey. I don't care what Michigan State does from a toughness standpoint. This team is on a different level than really any team in the history of the sport.
Can I do the play somebody thing really quickly and defend Michigan?
I would love that.
All right. So a few things. Michigan's played two close games. TCU and Wake Forest. Those were two of the first three games of the year. This is a roster. Nobody, the only two people that, or three people that played together last year would be Cheddar, or I guess it's four, Cheddar, Casey, and Gale, and Namari Burnett, right? Those are the only four people that like knew who the other person was, had each other's phone numbers going into like June.
Yeah.
I would say that's probably why you started slow, right? Like those were literally two of the first three times these groups were collectively on the court together. I'm
Yeah.
gonna bring up Purdue. Everybody knows I have my Purdue future. Oakland, they only beat them by 10. Then they only beat Memphis by 9. Why are we not talking about those games the same way we're talking about TCU and Wake Forest? And Purdue's a team that's been together for 4 years. They shouldn't struggle coming out of the gates, right? In theory, they were supposed to be the team that beats down on everybody by 40 because of the continuity. It makes more sense for a Michigan team to struggle coming out of the gates. Now I'm going to bring up Purdue and Michigan State really quickly. Those, I believe, are the two teams in contention for the Big Ten outside of Michigan. Um, Purdue and Michigan State have played three top 25 teams on KenPom. They both lost to their only top 10 opponent on KenPom. Michigan's played two top 25 teams on KenPom, won by a combined 68 points, including absolute belt to the number three team on KenPom, a Gonzaga team that I respectfully to Michigan State, I do believe is better than Michigan State. And I think is in that class with Purdue, Michigan, Arizona, right? Like I think those are the four best teams in the sport right now. You should throw an Iowa State in there for because of what they did to Purdue in Mackey. And then I'm looking at the rest of Michigan's schedule. Gee, they play 19 more games this year. KenPom thinks they win them all. KenPom thinks they're only going to play five single-digit games the rest of the year. One of them's a neutral against Duke. Another one's on the road at Mackey, on the road at Michigan State. Like these are not easy games. On the road at Iowa, I hate Iowa. Michigan's gonna beat them by like 40. Like these, and then on the road at Illinois. Though three of those teams are in the top 10 on KenPom, and then the other ones are 14 and 18. That's who KenPom believes can keep it close with Michigan. Not beat them, just keep it close. We talk
Right.
about play somebody. Nobody's really played anybody. That's what non-con is. That's the whole point of the non-conference schedule. Yeah, sure, like Michigan hasn't played top 10 opponents. Well, the one they did, they put 40 on. And when Purdue and Michigan State, respectfully to their fan bases, want to say play somebody, when y'all played a top 10 team, you got dropped. So maybe you need to play somebody too.
Right. Yeah. I'm doing it as a bit at this point. I think how long will this go? Could we beat USC by 40 and it'll be play somebody? Like at a certain point, even no matter who you're playing, if you cover the spread by 20 every night, that has to mean something. You're exceeding the expectation by more than any team in the country every night. Every night. And I'm telling you, man, like, unless you think Gonzaga is just fraudulent, the way they did Gonzaga is the exact same thing they did to San Diego State, Auburn, Rutgers, LaSalle, McNeese, Villanova. It's the
Yeah.
same exact game every time. It's the same exact game. Like the down perform. Obviously, Wake Forest and TCU happened. That feels like the twilight zone. But like since then, the down game for Michigan was 89-61 over Nova. Like nothing's even been semi-competitive. Like in this game, it was on Big Ten Plus, which shame on you, Big Ten Network, by the way. How dare you put this team behind a paywall to watch a game? Um, this like Big Ten Plus was having streaming issues, connection issues. By the time that they even got the stream started, Michigan was up 7-0, 32 seconds into the game. That's not even a bit. I'm like, how are we up? Oh, we're just doing the thing. Do we open the set? We were up 31 at half, and we opened the second half on a 16-0 run. And again, people want to say, like, well, they never rest their starters. We don't play our starters. We play our ninth guy as much as we play our second guy. We get Malik Cordell and Oscar Goodman in the game with 10 minutes left every game. It's
Yeah.
it's crazy. I've not ever watched a team like this. And it's jarring because I've said it on other ones. I never thought I'd see a better Michigan team than the Trey Burke-Nickstauskas team. This team would demolish them. And it's sustainable. The way this team wins is not ever tied to like unsustainable things. Every single game, they just dominate at the rim. We just make 80% of our shots at the rim, and opponents make 30%. That never goes away because that is a result of who the players are. Like, we play really up tempo because we can, because we get a million stops and everyone's great in transition. Dude, we're the number one assist rate team in the sport right now. Like, because everyone on the floor can pass. Everybody on the floor makes the extra pass. And it doesn't matter what combinations are here. Obviously, they're not gonna win every game by 30. I know this. But like whenever you are in a dogfight with Michigan, the thing that makes this team most special, which they haven't really had to utilize lately, is that they can change their personnel to whatever the matchup needs. Like, oh, if Purdue wants to try and get TKR on, like, I don't know, Yaxel, or Mara's struggling in Mackey. Okay, Mara bench. Slide everything down. Merez, bring in the McDonald's All-American, and we go Merez, Yaxel in the front court. Oh, we need to go big? Like, Yaxel, go play point. We did that against Maryland to beat them by 35 in the second half. Like, there's so many different combinations that work for this team because of how positionally versatile they are, how good they are defensively. Right now, they're making shots. Every three they take is wide open, and everybody's just playing to their ceiling, man. They deserve a round of applause individually.
Yeah, I brought it up with Purdue a few times. Obviously, it's not a Purdue recap, but just that to me, this is the testament to what Dusty's built. What is Purdue's counterpunch? That I don't know. I think the counterpunch is just Braden being the best player in the country, which I do believe he is. TK being an All-American, I do believe he's that. Fletcher being unstoppable. Those three, probably the best big three in the sport, maybe the best big three of this era. But I don't know that they have a counterpunch. I believe their counterpunch was supposed to be Omer, and he hasn't really like lived up to that just yet, and he might. Michigan has 30 different counterpunches, right? Like they have a million counterpunches they can go to because we keep talking about it. Trey McKinney's liable to hit for 20 on any night too. He's still a McDonald's All-American. Is he going to be consistent? Probably not. He's a freshman, but like Trey McKinney's one of the most talented players in the sport. That's why he was a McDonald's All-American. Like that's a guy that doesn't play much. He could come in. Okay, Roddy Gale's missing. Okay, Namari Burnett's missing. So and so's missing. Let's just try the McDonald's All-American then. And then that's a great guy to have to go to. And you mentioned it, Yaxel at point. What if they threw a lineup of Yaxel at point at Purdue? Right? Like, what if they throw? What if when Michigan State subs in Woj, what if Dusty just goes, Yaxel, why don't you go guard him? and like guard him 94 feet, and then you bring the ball up and you post up Woj, or you post up Divine, or you post up like all these guys. Like there's so many different ways they can beat you. And moreover, like I look at every team in the Big Ten, maybe every team in the country, and I can point to a spot on the floor where it's like, ooh, I don't think that guy should be on the court. You can't do that with Michigan. You
No.
cannot do that with Michigan.
Yeah, our worst players
Everybody deserves to play.
Like LJ Kaysen, who's like actively making a huge leap. and is
Yeah.
probably going to start next year and be really good. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. You look back, like again, obviously there are data points like Wake Forest almost beat this team, TCU almost beat this team. You can not just gloss over those and take those away. I'm not trying to. When you look at what happened in those games against Wake Forest, Michigan shot 16% from three and had 17 turnovers. The next game against TCU, they shot 31% from three and had 22 turnovers. Turnovers have not been an issue once since those two games. 3-point shooting has not been an issue once since those two games. Like it happened. It absolutely happened. But I just feel like they've already figured out some solutions to avoid it happening again. And, a year ago, it's not all that different. A year ago, there were a lot of growing pains in November and December for Michigan before they figured out that Danny Wolf was the point guard on the team. And I just think Dusty figured out this team a lot quicker than he figured out last year's team. I truly do. I think like whatever identity stuff needed to be solved with this specific personnel group, Dusty figured it out coming out of that TCU win. And mind you, reminder, Michigan played as bad as they could play in those games and won the games. Right? We're not talking like you still got to find a way to win. You still got to find a way to beat them, and obviously someone will at some point. I don't think this team is going to go undefeated, but I don't have the answer for how you beat this team. I don't. And I try to point to two things that have my attention. There are two things that are kind of becoming potential issues for Michigan.
From like a negative standpoint.
Yeah, like if I was trying to create the nightmare night, how does a team beat Michigan? There's two things that are happening a little bit consistently right now I could point to.
What are those two things?
So Mara can't shoot at the line. Mara is a 42% free throw shooter on 50 attempts this year. I think teams are just going to start to play Hackamara, Hackaday, Hackaday. That's Hackaday Mara. Um, I think if you did play that route in a close game, you'd have to bench him.
Yeah.
Like we're not benching him right now. He shot 10 free throw attempts this last game. He made 3 of them. We're not benching him because we're up 40. Who cares if he makes the free throws? But like say it's a 2-point game against Michigan State at the Breslin Center. I don't know if Mara's on the court if he's a 42% free throw shooter.
He's probably not, but I almost think you use that to your advantage. And I think you go a day, you're going to get 12 of the first 15 minutes in each half. Feel free to use all your fouls, but make sure you get them in foul trouble. And then we're going to sub in our 81% free throw shooter who's like a former 4-star guy in Merez to like handle the rest at center.
And that is the thing. Anytime it's like, oh, we could just get Mara out of the game. Okay, we just play Merez 35 minutes.
Yeah.
Merez, who had 24 and 11 with 2 blocks and a steal, a KenPom MVP in this game for the third time this season, whose KenPom player comp that is the most similar player to Merez Johnson ever, is Xavier Tillman.
Ooh.
So that's if you get my best center out of the game, you get Xavier Tillman. What are we even doing? Like, there is no way to solve the Mara problem to me. Because if you get him out of the game, you just go to a better player than Mara anyway. The second thing that could happen, Cadeau keeps getting in foul trouble. He only played 17 minutes in this game because he was auto benched in the first half. He is the one, like, if you take Cadeau's passing out of this, it's different. Kaysen's been really good, and Yaxel can play point, but like you lose Cadeau, you do lose kind of a big element of this team in the transition. So to me, I'm hashtag monitoring. Is Cadeau going to keep getting in foul trouble every game, and is Mara going to keep struggling at the line? Because Cadeau and Mara right now are the keys to this team, identity wise, and they seem vulnerable in certain ways.
I agree with the Cadeau portion of it, but like I also would live for the day Cadeau gets in foul trouble against like Michigan State and Dusty instead of turning to like Kaysen or Trey McKinney goes, okay, put in Merez, Yaxel, you're at point. And
Right.
just and tells Yaxel you got Jeremy Fears 94 feet on both ends.
Right.
And I just think they win by 30 because what is Jeremy Fears going to do with Yaxel? Because you can't pass over Yaxel. I think Yax is one of the freakest athletes in the sport. I don't think you're just going to blow by Yax on defense.
Right. Which I think they could do for what it's worth in an emergency. Yeah, I mean, you kind of made this point in the Purdue recap today. Like, great team, fun team we think could get hot and win it all. At the same time, they're never going to have the physicality you want them to have. That's just not who they, even when they play their best, that's not who they are. And it is like I had Purdue on one screen, Michigan on one screen, Michigan State on the other screen last night. Those are two of the three biggest threats to Michigan in this conference. You know, there's that week from hell where they go to Mackey, Breslin, and Champaign all in like a 4 game stretch. Um, they might lose all those games. They truly might. I have no fucking idea what's going to happen. But I do know this. I was watching Purdue blow a team out. They looked great. It's a bunch of really small guys. And then I watched Michigan State struggle with Cornell in the first half. And Denon Wojcik and Divine Ugachukwu and Kurteng were playing, and they were clueless. And I respectfully to those teams, like this Michigan team physically is something the sport hasn't seen. And those teams get bit. Like the team we would, again, just replace Michigan mentally right now with 2015 Kentucky. It feels more like what this team is. And it doesn't feel as crazy because it's not Cadeau and Mara, but like that's what they're playing like. And physically, that's what they are like. So I don't know. You've got to be physically ready for this team. And I don't know who is in the country.
Yeah, it is. Like two quick things. Like the Purdue portion of it, and I've said this a lot. Purdue's issues, I don't believe there's a solution for. I just think you can win. You can get hot and you can win it. But like Purdue's biggest issue, you cannot go back 20 years and give somebody different genetics. Like you mentioned all of Michigan's issues. There's a fix for it because it has nothing to do with genetics. It has nothing to do with natural talent, natural ability. Talent's probably the wrong word. Natural athleticism, right? Like there's a fix, there's a game plan, there's a coaching switch you can make. You can't do that with Purdue. Michigan State's issues, same thing. You can't make Divine a couple inches taller. You can't make Cullen Carr a couple inches taller, like so on and so forth. Like Trey Fort and Kurt Tang can't magically become more laterally athletic to where they can stay in front of people a little bit better than they do. Those are issues. Michigan's biggest issues are like, okay, well, Damar can't shoot free throws. Cool, we'll play Marez. Like, Elliot Cadeau's gonna get in foul trouble. Cool. Like we'll go with Yaxel, we'll go Kaysen. Like there's fixes to Michigan's issues because they're basketball related. The other teams have issues, and I don't believe they're basketball related. That's where I get hesitation with them. And it's why I don't have any hesitation with Michigan. Like I don't think you got to worry about them losing in that 4 game stretch. I think they might lose in Mackey, but I like them in the other ones. Um, it's kind of full circle for Elliot Cadeau. Have you thought about it like that?
No.
So he was supposed to be on the dream team, North Carolina team that like ended up missing the tournament, right? Like magazine cover, Sports Illustrated, that like that roster. He was supposed to be on that. I mean, he was on that roster, excuse me. Now he's actually on the dream team roster. This is like full circle. As a freshman, you underachieved. As a junior, now you're the best team maybe in the history of the sport.
It's crazy sequence of I mean, you could do the same exercise with Mara,
Yeah.
Marez. Like that's kind of the story of I don't know, all these misfit and I don't want to act like they're not talented. Cadeau was a 5 star. Mara was a 5 star. Marez was a fringe 5 star. Yaxel was obviously underrated, but was one of the best players in the country.
Yeah.
Um, I think Namari Burnett was a 5 star, right? Like this team is full of dudes that just, for whatever reason, for most of their career, were not playing like dudes. And I do think that's all the Dusty May effect. It really is. It's Dusty has optimized every single one of these games and somehow convinced them all to be happy along the way. It's crazy. We haven't even really done like any personal touch points on individual performances in this game. So just quickly, Marez was the KenPom MVP, 24 points, 11 rebounds, 2 blocks, a steal, an assist. He was everywhere, 8 for 9 from the free throw line. He's a legitimately great free throw shooter right now. He had 6 offensive rebounds in this game. McNeese is a bad defensive rebounding team, but Michigan had 14 offensive rebounds as a team to 15 defensive rebounds for McNeese. If they missed more shots, they would have had more offensive rebounds too. That's the thing. Merez is just dominant, man, and this team doesn't need him to be featured, but good Lord, I'm envisioning like a next year Merez if somehow he came back and say Mara and Yaxel are gone. I'm envisioning a world where this is the first option every night, and it's crazy.
It- I did the Kavikata thing where I said like Kavikata dominates like lower level talent. So does Merez. He just also dominates high level talent. But when you get Merez against people that have no business being on the court against them, I mean, like he hurts feelings out there. Like there's got to be dudes on McNeese that left and they made appointments with their academic counselor and said, "Hey, we got to figure some stuff out. Like I need to start preparing for 9 to 5 life. I just had to guard Merez. He got an offensive rebound and dunked in my face. Like get me in the closest chemistry class you have possible. I need to graduate ASAP." He is so talented, so talented. Like I mean, first option Merez next year would be special. But also like Dusty's gonna get other people too, right? Like, like that's what makes Dusty so good. Like, as much as we would love first option Merez, Dusty's gonna come back with another Yaxel, another Mara, and sophomore year Trey McKinney. Like,
Yeah.
that's a McDonald's All-American.
That's the thing I was thinking about. I'm like, oh, maybe next year will be like Kaysen and McKenney and maybe Merez. And yeah, like I'm excited to see those guys grow. And then I was like, wait a second, we're just going to get another Yaxel. Like, whoever the best player in the portal is at the 4 is just going to want the Yaxel Danny Wolf role. And maybe
It,
not. I don't know. They could mess it up, but like I'm kind of excited to see what happens, right?
isn't it like kind of crazy that Dusty was doubted too? Like, he took FAU to the Final Four, and like, what was the point guard's name? Johnny Davis?
John L. Davis. Yeah.
Yeah, stinks. Like,
Well, well,
like he went to Arkansas and like the team was worse when he was out there.
Elijah
Like
Martin, Elijah
yeah,
Martin, national champ. Yeah.
yeah, Elijah Martin special. But like John L. Davis, like I mean, what was that? Like, Dusty's so good at getting the most out of players. And we saw it with a lot of besides Elijah, like a lot, like how could we be surprised he's doing this? Because now he's not just getting the FAU talent, he's getting 5 stars and making them better than they should have been. And it's like that. That's just elite coaching. It's. I mean, we do the comparison thing a lot. It's Signetti.
Yeah, I mean, I let me just ask you this because I like I said, bunch of 5 stars on this team, talented dudes, of course. Who's like the most average coach you can think of? Not a bad coach, not a great coach. Who's the most average college basketball coach?
Who's the who was the old Iowa coach?
Fran McCaffrey?
Yeah,
That
Fran.
one's almost too controversial to do what I want to do this for. Like,
What about like a Eric Musselman?
yeah, Eric Musselman's the coach of this team. How good are they? Because
What
Muss
are
has
they?
had some great teams.
Yeah, they're 12 and 0. I do believe Musk could put this roster together. I believe Musk is a great like acquirer of talent. He does a great job acquiring talent. Moses
John
Moody.
John Calipari coaches this team.
Uh, well, Cal coaches this team. You have 4 more 5 stars on the roster. Yaxel's only playing 20 minutes, and they're like doing hockey subs. And Cal gets upset that they haven't been able to scrimmage. They're like 10-2, probably, I would say.
Mark Pope coaches this team.
Uh, I think him and Yaxel fight. Merez definitely leaves.
Okay, all right. So yeah, and look, I'm not saying a lot of coaches couldn't win games with this team, but it's there was certainly real downside here. Preseason we had Michigan on the list of teams that could miss the tournament, who are the best teams that could implode on themselves. And I don't know how you could look at Cadeau and Mara and what they were before this and think that wasn't possible. And it's been better than the best case scenario outcome. In this game, Mara was essentially flawless outside of the free throw shooting, 13 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 blocks. They play through him as a passing hub so much, and he's just so big he can pass over everybody. Yaxel once again, 16 and 8. He was 6 for 10 from the floor, 1 for 2 from three. 21 minutes. If we ever needed 30 minutes from Yaxel, he would just give us like 24 and 12, but we never need that. Um, yeah, I don't know. McKennie is like the recipient of he plays with the garbage time guys. So McKennie always ends up in double figures because he ends up getting like 7 late points. I love it.
I love the idea. This should be a bet we make. We should ladder McKennie points against really good teams because like they go to Champaign and we ladder McKennie all the way up to 15, and it's like okay, Michigan like keeps it close. He probably doesn't hit, but if they're up 40, we just got like plus 2,000 odds on a guy that's playing way more minutes than he should.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I do wonder what it would look like on a team that needed more from him, but he's just so cerebral and good right now. He didn't make his threes in this game. He was 0 for 3, but he was 4 for 4 from two, 5 for 6 from the free throw line. He's still shooting 38% from three on the season. So just a polished kid. Really good team. Anything else?
The minute stuff. I just want to bring it up in terms of like winning. I'm gonna call it. What would they? They would have to win 9 straight to win the Big Ten tournament and the NCAA tournament, right? Or is it 10?
9 straight. Yeah.
I look at Illinois. We just did the Illinois recap. I love that team. You're asking an 18, 19-year-old freshman to play nearly 40 minutes for the next 4 months in order to win national title. I look at Purdue. You're going to ask the big three to play 35 plus minutes for the next 4 months to win a national title. Michigan State, you're asking Fears to play well, they're not asking Fears. They need to ask Fears to play 40 minutes, but Wojcik is getting minutes. But like Fears, you're going to ask Fears to play 40 minutes at some point to win 6 straight games. How much fresher is Michigan going to be because they don't have to do that? Right? Like if you get to the point where Yaxel has to play 40 minutes, he's not going to be tired because he's had so much rest for the first 5 months of the season. Right? Like
Yeah.
that's another advantage Michigan has going into it. They went to the players era. They played 3 straight games, 3 straight nights, and they didn't look winded once. Gonzaga looked gassed by that last game, right? And part of that is because Michigan's up by a million, so it's like pull Yaxel. That's going to happen a lot, I think, in the first 2 rounds of the NCAA tournament. The way they're playing, that might just be the NCAA tournament for them. Who knows? But I think the minutes portion of this, players get tired. That is what it is. I think we saw that with Duke in the Final Four. I think that played a large role why they couldn't get the inbound in. I think they were gassed. You don't have to worry about Michigan not having the legs come March, April, even February. And I think that's going to play a massive role. Because, I mean, you look at the schedule and you get Duke February 21st. You get Purdue the game before that, February 17th. Those are two teams that like might have been in some wars. I'm not sure Michigan's going to have been in any at that point. And yeah, a bit well besides Wake and TCU, I guess. But like I think that's going to play a big, big role for them because they're going to be able to rest guys in spots no other team's going to be able to.
Boy, and we have one data point. Again, you could use TCU and Wake Forest as data points if you want to, but again, those performances were just so like Twilight Zone-y. Like the issues that happened to Michigan in that game have not been present in 10 games since. So to me, it's a little misguided to go back to those two games and use them as like that's what you need to do to sure, try and force 20 turnovers against Michigan and hope they shoot 4 for 25 from three. I think teams have been trying to do that for a month and they're not doing it anymore. So to me, the one data point we have in this big winning streak of like what would happen if you get them on the ropes. Maryland led by 9 with 18 minutes left. We saw Michigan's like, oh shit, we're on the ropes moment. Do you know what they did?
Like a 40-0 run.
They just unleashed Yaxel fully.
Yeah.
Yaxel played 37 minutes in that game and finished with 29, 9, and 8. And was guarding Diggy Coit, picking him up full court.
Yeah.
So like to me, that I think Jordan Stocks, a Twitter account that I love, tweeted something along the lines last night of like, Michigan's obviously amazing, but in March, obviously, like who's the second option? Because in March, like your number one option is gonna be taken away at some point, or you're gonna struggle. And like, what does Michigan do when that happens to Yaxel? I responded, I was just like, hey, I think this is totally misunderstanding what Michigan is. because we do not play like Yaxel is a first option. The only time we've even gone there is when we were in trouble. If you get Michigan to the point where they're like, Yaxel, we need you, you've already won. And at that point, I don't know how you take Yaxel away because Michigan doesn't even do that to start with. So it really goes back to what I said. It would be like get Cadeau in foul trouble. Okay, they just bring Kaysen in, and Kaysen's been stellar. And they use Yaxel's passing and Mara's passing more. Get Maxwell or get Mara off the bench. Okay, Merez is a monster. Like I think Michigan has a counter to whatever little avenue a team tries to throw out there, and they're just so deep. Like the path to me is what Maryland did: make all your shots, look up, you're up 9, and hope that Michigan doesn't press the axle button. And if they do, good luck.
Yeah, honestly, G, I think that the easiest path that I see at the moment is you do what the NCAA wants and you ask Congress to get involved and we start putting regulations on who can play college basketball and you try to get Yaxel eligibility removed. He's going to be 23 and a half years old by the time the Final Four starts. Like, I think that's the easiest pathway. You just say, hey, he shouldn't be playing college basketball. He's old. And you just
Yeah.
hope for the best.
Yeah. Ken Palm does like all Big Ten, like basically just who have the best players been. He has Yaxel 1, Braden Smith 2, Adai Mara 3, Merez Johnson 4.
Yeah.
So my three-man front court is three of the best. It's basically three Braden Smiths in the front court.
I saw that, and I don't want to poke fun at any other teams, but like how far below, like Fears and Wagler is Cadeau right now, and I mean that out of respect for Cadeau and not like making fun of the other two. But like if you know like Cadeau's been really good. I don't think Cadeau's getting nearly enough credit.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. All right. How am I supposed to handle this, by the way? Because like I'm doing the bit where I pick against this team every game. That's working. It's going great. I started out the first month like actively hating the team, and then I stopped hating the team at players era, and now I'm kind of like uncomfortable talking about how good they are. Do I have to just like go villain mode and own this and be like, I want all of y'all on a platter?
I think you got two options. I think you go villain mode because like you have to like poke fun at Cart, or or you just like keep doing exactly what you're doing. I think you're doing exactly what you're supposed to do with this team. And at some point, you and I are gonna have a meeting of the minds and decide, is this our next venture? Like, is this our next championship team?
Yeah. I mean, for the last month, I've repeatedly insisted I expect to lose at the Breslin Center, lose at Mackey Arena, and lose in Champaign on Merez homecoming night. Like that is a lot. But I got to be honest, as I keep watching the same exact game happen over and over and over and over and over again, I am starting to let my mind drift to a place where on January 30th, Michigan beats Michigan State by 47, and then I get to tweet play somebody after.
Those three games, Mackey's a different beast. So, I'm gonna plead the fifth on what I think happens at Mackey. Uh, Respectfully to Michigan State, if Wojcik hits the court, he loses his minutes by 20 in those 10. So you're going to have to win the other 30 minutes by 20 something points to offset what he does. I don't think Michigan State can hang with Michigan. Respectfully to Illinois, I think they get bullied. I mean, I was that Southern game yesterday, like it was a 33 point win, 35-point win, something like that. They looked phenomenal. I was watching that game because I watch every Big Ten game now. Started the year watching every Big Ten game. How do you beat Purdue? Now I watch every Big Ten game from a Purdue perspective. I'm like, how do we get my bet home? Like, how do we get to a point where I can at least hedge? And now, but everyone else, I'm like, how do you beat Michigan? Merez can like literally decide to fight half the stadium, be ejected from the Illinois game, and Yaxel and Ademar just get every rebound. Physically, Illinois cannot hang with Michigan. With all due respect, I think Keaton's the only guy that today is ready for that game. Even my guy, Baby Merck, I don't think is ready for that game today.
Well, the thing is, like, when you listen to like, and I probably shouldn't just listen to fans, but when you listen to like fans of other programs talk about this, like Michigan State thinks the way to beat Michigan is get to Cadeau. And I get why they would think that. It's like fears can get to Cadeau. Um, they might also like, I mean, respectfully, Elliot Cadeau, let me see what he's shooting right now. Elliot Cadeau shooting 46% from three on high volume with a 35% assist rate
Yeah.
while not turning it over. Like that's a hard guy to get to, I think.
Yeah.
Um, Purdue fans think Mara's the guy you get to because they think you put him in pick and roll and Braden will eat it up, and he might. Mara
Mhm.
was a disaster against UCLA or at UCLA against Purdue last year. But Mara is the third best player in the Big Ten right now. So Purdue fans still think it's old. Like he's a totally new Adai Mara. And Illinois fans, I think they're just going to punt Mraz. I think Illinois fans think their Balkan front court with loud fans is going to pump Mraz while Yaxel and Mara stand there watching. Like and Dion, trust me, I meant it 2 weeks ago when I kept being like, I don't care how good Michigan is. I know what's coming. We're gonna lose to Izzo. He has our number. We're gonna lose to all these teams. I felt that way 2 months ago. I didn't think Michigan would keep playing at this level. This isn't even like, oh, they're doing some. This is who they are.
Yeah.
This is who this team is. It's not a wow, how are they doing that? They are who they are. And that's why I keep preaching, look at them the way you look at 2015 Kentucky. Look at like we didn't have a hard time understanding what we were watching with those teams. Because it was like, oh shit. Yeah, they got those dudes. You got to wrap your brain around Mara and Cadeau being those dudes now. That's who they've been. And I'm terrified of losses in those games now because I mean shit, dude, KenPom gives Michigan 88% chance to beat Michigan State in Ann Arbor. Duke on a neutral went from 50-50 week one to a 69% chance Michigan wins that game. And it's right. It's the right way to look at this because that's how good Michigan is. But like God forbid, I think I can stomach losing in Mackey because I love Braden and I have a lot of respect for Purdue and Mackey. I can stomach losing to Illinois, even as much as that would kill me watching Merez somehow lose that game. I can stomach it because Brad has our number. If, God forbid, if this team loses to the Divine Ugachukwu team, I won't be findable, I don't think.
I know you said it's just fans. Can I tell you what's wrong with the sentiments that each team has, though?
Please.
Michigan State first. Get to Elliott. If I'm Dusty May, here's what I'm telling Elliott. You only play 22 minutes a game. This kid plays 35 plus. You have 5 fouls. He has 5 fouls. Both y'all flop around like fish for 40 minutes. Why don't you just get to him under your 22 minutes? If you like in your
That's
22
so
minutes,
true. If we just foul each other out, Michigan brings in Kaysen and Gale and McKinney, and Michigan State brings in Denham Wojcik.
exactly. Like Fears has to guard Cadeau also. Yes, Fears can get to Cadeau, but it doesn't affect Michigan as much after he does it. Cadeau gets to do it on the other end, and it completely takes Michigan State out the game.
Oh my
It
God, I'm pushing this narrative for the next month. We have 1 month until that game, and my only goal is to foul out Jeremy Fears.
that's exactly what I'm Dusty. I'm like, yeah, dude, they're gonna try to foul you out. Do the same. Like, I want you to guard him 94 feet, and I don't care if you fall into the first row and they call a blocking foul. I want you flopping around this court. You can get technicals for all I care. Get in his face. Let's do a little double tech action, maybe. Because Elliot Cadeau doesn't mean as much to Michigan as Fears means to Michigan State. And then I go to Purdue, 3 units. I love Purdue. I'm still all the way in. Sure, you put a Daymar in pick and roll. That's great. That's great. That probably does work, to be honest. By the way, Braden Smith putting anybody in pick and roll will work. Purdue fans like
Works.
that. That's not in a Day Mara thing. That's basketball. That's not. It's not exactly breaking
But
news.
like, so here, that's my thing. If you're doing that, okay, I think Dusty is just like, oh, Mara's getting torched. Cool. We're gonna start to cover that with Yaxel and Merez.
Yes, yes, and that was going to be my point. Is that yeah, they get torched, so we go Yaxel Merez at the moment, right? You go Yaxel Perez. If you go Yaxel Perez, that is now the most athletic lineup in the country, which is exactly what Purdue doesn't want. So why would they attack Mara and try to take Mara out the game? Because the thing Purdue is bad against is what Michigan goes to. Michigan's counterpunch is everything you don't want. You go to Illinois, I do think the Balkans probably punked Mraz to an extent. Okay, you remove Mirkovic from the game, or you remove Big Z from the game, and you go to who? Exactly. You go to what if one of them gets removed? If you remove Perez from the game, you go to Yaxel in a day. And I promise you, the Avisages don't want a day on the court because the only way the Avisages make plays is because they're 4 inches taller than everybody. If somebody has the same size, the Avisages block shots without getting off the ground. I watched Big Z have 3 blocks yesterday, and he didn't move on any of them. He just went like this, and the other guy's 6'10", so he blocked the shot.
So can
So you're
I
gonna
can I tell you
stick.
my dream for Michigan how they guard? So I want Michigan to play the three big lineup against Illinois. I want them to have I want Yaxel on whichever big Ivisic is there because Yaxel will just hang with them at the line and they won't shoot.
Yeah.
I want Merez on Merck. Love you, Merck, but that's food. And then I want Mara disrespectfully standing in the paint off of Andrei Stojakovic. Come challenge me. Do your thing. 22% shooter. Like that is my dream. And I don't know if they'll actually do it. They probably won't, but it'd be fun.
But they mentioned right like who do you think Michigan's best like wing defender is?
Yeah, Axel.
Oh yeah, after Yaxel, is it like Gale or Burnett?
Roddy's really good. Namari's really good. Either one, yeah.
So here's what I do if I'm Michigan because everyone wants to pinpoint how you beat Michigan. None of these fan bases, and I understand why it's fan bases, are going to pinpoint how you beat the other team. Why would you not tell Gale, hey, you got Keaton for the first 5 minutes? Okay, you used 2 fouls. Namari, you got Keaton for the next 5 minutes. Okay, you used 2 fouls. Yaxel, now you got him. This is a freshman who needs the ball in his hands, and I'm not trying to take anything away from him. Michigan can wear you down in a way you can't wear Michigan down because of all the options that they have to throw at you. And why would you not guard Keaton Wagler 94 feet? I love his game. His handle's slightly sloppy still because he's an 18, 19-year-old freshman, right?
Yeah.
You guard him 94 feet, you take the ball out of his hands, with all due respect, I don't think Illinois is that good if Keaton doesn't have the ball in his hands.
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, they're just and the superpower of Michigan is if anything goes wrong at any one spot, if Mara's in foul trouble or just bad, if Merez is in foul trouble, if Cadeau is in foul trouble, if any of the shooting guards are in foul trouble. I mean, dog, we have the same carousel at the two that Michigan State has. It's just their shooting guards are Divine Ugachukwu, Kerr Tang, and Trey Fort. And Michigan's three are Namari Burnett, who was a five-star playing his fifth year in this sport, Roddy Gale, who started a bazillion years, and Trey McKenney and LJ Kaysen. Like
Yeah.
it's just different. But the superpower is if anything goes wrong at any one spot, the answer is just Yaxel because Yaxel can play 1 through 5. Yaxel can literally run point. He can literally play the five. He can guard every single position and guard it well. He can be more assertive offensively when needed. He just doesn't because he doesn't have to. And that is truly the biggest luxury. It's the most special part about this team. And if somehow, if this team runs the table or even just wins a championship of some sort, what I will remember most about them, other than their unselfishness and their depth, is the superpower that was Yaxel Lenneborg. This guy that was third on the team in usage, that basically may have been Cooper Flagg. Like he does all the same things Cooper Flagg does. We just use him as a cerebral piece and break glass in case of emergency. It's crazy.
All offseason, Purdue and Michigan State fans talked about how deep they were. Like Purdue had the trio, so Jakari, CJ, I guess you could say 4 people, Benter, Omer. And it was like, oh, we can just rotate. Clough, DJ, we can just rotate. Michigan State, Divine, Wojcik, Fort, whoever. We can just rotate these guys. The problem with both those rosters is you're rotating the same player in, right? So the same flaws that like Jakari and CJ are the same guy, right? Like Wojcik, Divine, Kurtang, like most of them are all the same dude, right? Like it's all a similar player. They all have pretty glaring flaws. What I think makes Michigan so hard to beat is like they can do the rotate thing too, but they're bringing in like guys that have a completely different skill set. Like Trey McKinney's not Roddy Gale. Trey McKinney's not Namari Burnett. LJ Cason's not Elliot Cadeau, right? Merez is not a Daymara. No one in the world is Yaxel. And it's like that is so hard to stop because you now have to game plan for 8, 9, 10 different lineups. If you're playing Purdue, you have one game plan. And if they make shots, they blow your game plan up, right? But if they don't make shots and their big three isn't going crazy, they can go with Jakari, they can go with DJ, they can go with CJ, they can go with Benter. Your game plan doesn't change. You're going to guard Benter the same way you guarded the other two. The only person that can kind of throw an influx on your game plan would be Omer a little bit, right? But he's not playing enough to where it matters. You guard DJ the same way you guard Clough. You do not guard any two players on Michigan the same. That is so hard to beat. That's what true optionality looks like.
Yeah. Yep. All right. I want to note that in this huge, enormous win streak for Michigan, our average recap time is 22 minutes with Carter Elliott. So, Dion, thanks for going 75 minutes on the best team in the country. Enjoyed that. That was fun. Tinker Coffee, go get you some. We'll be back when Michigan loses to USC on Friday.